This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action, and you're listening to the Krypton Report.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's
The Krypton Report. Welcome to the Krypton Report Podcast, presented by the Southgate Media Group.
The All Things Kryptonian podcast, including Superman and Supergirl.
We discuss games, movies, cartoons, TV shows, and comics.
Krypton Report Pod can be found on Facebook, Twitter, Skype, YouTube, and Instagram.
And if you want to drop us a line, send it to kryptonreportpod@gmail.com.
We are on Patreon under Southgate Media Group.
And our official merch page is tpublic.com. Search Krypton Report.
Now on with the show.
Welcome to the Krypton Report. In this episode, James and I will be playing catch-up. Because, as if you've listened to our Elseworlds episode or our special YouTube episodes, I have had bronchitis for pretty much the total amount of December, and I'm still fighting a cough. So I've been out of commission. So James has been patient with me, hasn't beat me up too much for having to put stuff off, but I basically could not function and talk.
Well, you're 2.5 hours away. It's not feasible.
Oh. It can be. It can be. I also want to throw out that we're
if necessary.
We're broadcasting from winter. This feels like the first day of winter in Ohio because it was miserably cold, a little bit of snow and some harsh winds after having a very weird, nice day yesterday that had hail. So I wouldn't be surprised if I woke up tomorrow and there was like 6 feet of snow outside.
According to the news around here, there's going to be a nice storm coming in from the south, and Cincinnati area is supposed to get it the worst, and then it will kind of lighten up as it, as the storm is expanded north, because it's like the whole area according to the radar. But I think you'll have more snow than I will. We're only predicted about an inch on Saturday.
Yay. And Saturday is Solomon's birthday and birthday party. And it's going to be a crappy out. So it just sucks. And it's late. Because you know why? We have kids. But we're going to But we are going to jump into Supergirl with the episode 6, A Call to Action. James, why don't you go ahead and take the lead on this one? So I don't have to talk.
All right. Well, this episode, it's like the Thanksgiving episode. They have a manuscript. It's being handed out like leaflets. Written by Agent Liberty, and James Olsen is kind of like the poster boy, the face of the Children of Liberty. As he's in the past now, the last couple of episodes, he has been twisted to be fighting for humanity against the aliens. And everybody knows that, Guardian fights all bad people, Children of Liberty, aliens, drug dealers, criminals, what have you. But James in this episode is trying to make contact with the Children of Liberty and trying to make his way to Agent Liberty to be able to get an interview with him. Lena really wants him to denounce the Children of Liberty publicly. She even books him on a debate television show, which he ending up refuses to go on, and sends Kara on instead, which she comes face to face. Yes, she comes face to face with Ben Lockwood, who is, the most vocal supporter. Publicly is not known as Agent Liberty, but he's the most vocal anti-alien rhetoric out there.
And I think he's a very well written character. And since the break, I rewatched season 8 of Smallville because Sam Witwer is in it, and I really like him. I like him as an actor, and I think he does a really good job as Ben Lockwood. And if nothing else, he's worth watching that season for him. Just his.
Yeah. I feel, as we were just talking about the some of the rewatchability. So far, I feel that rewatching these episodes to catch up and get a fresher look at them before we started recording, that Sam Witwer's character, Ben Lockwood, is definitely a standout here in the show.
He's been the first
he's
human...
really worth it.
He's been the first human villain that's not been, there's no alien villain right now. There's no invading villain. So everything that the show has done is built to make Ben Lockwood better.
A very strong character.
So, it's a believable point of view that he would take and where he would go with what he's experienced. Good or bad, you can at least acknowledge that the man has a standpoint.
Right. Well, and that's what the episode Man of Steel, still one of the best episodes of the season so far. Really, really showed that he took a long road from going from where he was to where he is. Not being a person who hated aliens. He just wanted to live and coexist with them, to now killing them. And as we find in this episode, leading a charge. They are, as James is walking with his contact for the Children of Liberty, we find out that he is messaging somebody, and they are tagging homes. They've trained dogs to track aliens,
which is so
creepy. They are tagging homes, right? They're tagging homes with special,
luminescent
special,
chalk.
like a luminescent chalk that they can only see with the lenses inside of their masks.
It's clever. It's scary, but it's clever.
Yeah. Manchester Black in this episode. I've been liking his character.
I do too. There's one thing I'm waiting to find out and to see what they do, because there was, where's that? They cast another member of the Elite. So I can't remember which character it was that will be appearing later.
I'm not up on that one right now. Unfortunately, I'm not up on that one right now.
I saw a press release, quick thing, like Supergirl cast blah of the Elite. And now I just don't know who it was.
The one thing I'm curious about his character is, we know that he is a powered character. He doesn't have any powers right now. He is pretty BA when it comes down to it. He's fighting off a handful of Children of Liberty at the beginning of the episode. He's always fighting a group of people, and he can take a hit and he can certainly deal out the punishment. But I'm curious as to if he's going to get his powers this season, if it's going to be from RNL.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of jumping around because we've already seen everything, but that's kind of where we get the experiments that Lena is doing. That's kind of where I feel like it's going to happen.
Right. Is the experiment in the next episode? Am I jumping ahead?
Probably. Like I said, I blame myself. Just because
we got 3 episodes behind, and then we did the Elseworlds before we caught up with this.
It was because I've been sick, and I was like, I can at least talk, a little bit of a cough, but when it was bad, it was bad.
All right. Right. Well, I just watched Call to Action and what's the episode? The name of the next episode?
Rather the Fallen Angel.
Yeah, that's it. I watched both of those back to back yesterday, and I watched Bunker Hill tonight. So I was like, I think those two might be a little merged right now.
So let's just.
I'm thinking the experiments happen in the other one though, but because this one's all about the anti-alien sentiment, the leaflet, the manuscript, and the plan to attack all of these marked homes with aliens in them, to attack them at sunset here on Thanksgiving.
And I love, so we talked about Ben Lockwood being on TV. And I love when he talked about, he basically gets Kara with the truth of what happened on the first Thanksgiving, of what it was, and catches her off guard, And I mean, this episode really shows more of Kara's naivete, of what she perceives and what she thinks people will stand by, and seeing how people really feel.
Yeah. I mean, it's Supergirl. It's Kara, it's Supergirl. When these characters look at the best in people and believe in the best in people, even though there are plenty that will continue to, spit that back in their face, they will continue to do that out of hope of people being better. And sometimes looking at it that way kind of makes them seem naive.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we have in this episode, what is her name? The new person who's running the DEO. What do you think about
Colonel Haley?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this episode, she is a real witch.
I agree.
Keep it clean. She is a real witch. I think she does exactly what she's supposed to do, and that's aggravate us. But I do really like, because she, right at the very beginning, the first time we see her, asking Supergirl if she was ordered to patrol the park. Like Supergirl has a patrol pattern, mm-hmm. or something like that. Supergirl, just like Superman, is always done what is necessary. You know, fight the alien invaders or save the cat from a tree. Stop a mugging. You know what I mean?
But in this,
always done that.
In this, like Supergirl, you know, they changed it in the comics, but this is the first one where she works for an organization. And I've never been quite like keen on it because, like you and I talked before, it started out where they were like agents, and now they're like military. Like, you're not an agent of the Marines. You know, you're an agent of the FBI. But now the DEO is like, you know, the few, the proud, the DEO. Like, they're now more like a military organization. So I just
Well, before they were like a covert operation. They weren't even acknowledged to be existing at the time. So, you know, they were agents, they were in the shadows, you know, now they're basically might as well stamp DEO up in the side of the building.
Yeah, I mean,
as big as L Corp.
Yeah, I mean, they might as well just come out and say it, because now, like, that's the one thing I think the show has missed is really, it's like everything with the alien assimilation has happened off screen. Like, season 1's about we watch, patrol, and protect the planet from aliens. Okay, we keep it on the hush hush. You know, there's a bunch of aliens living here. And, you know, it's a perfect story for Superman and Supergirl because they are aliens.
Right.
But, you know, and then, like, we get the alien bar that's just there. That's, like, no big deal. And then we kind of see more and more that these aliens are just living among us like nothing. And there's never really been, like, acknowledgement. Like I said before, it would have been really neat if they would have made, like, National City as, like, open for, like, aliens, a safe haven for aliens. And then that starts problems. But it's like,
right,
every time we have aliens, it's like the alien invaders.
Yeah. So when it comes to, like, the DEO and Kara, like, I never thought that, like, I always thought she worked, like, with them because
not for
because
them.
Her sister was there. Yeah, like like Alex was like the liaison to Supergirl.
Right.
Not like Supergirl was an agent of the DEO,
right,
like they're treating her now.
Exactly. Like, she doesn't have a uniform. Is she pulling down some money? I mean,
right.
Like, she pulling down 40 G's.
Do they cut checks to Supergirl?
Yeah, where's she cash them things?
Right.
Because, I mean, that would make sense. Like, if she was, you know, a DEO. I always looked at it like, you ever watch Psych?
A few episodes.
Well, like how Sean and Gus were always like, they didn't work for they were private investigators that just helped out the police department. That's how I always kind of looked at Kara. She's just there in their business, helping out.
Mm-hmm. So, with Colonel Haley, I mean, she's definitely annoying, and I don't see, like, I just read the synopsis for the mid-season premiere on January 20th. I don't see that side of her, you know, taking any sort of turn for the better.
No, so we're kind of mixing everything up together, and but we see, like, Alex and Haley eventually kind of find this bonding ground where they start to work together and they kind of respect each other, and then we find out that Haley hates aliens, and, you know, it's the DEO's kind of become protecting aliens from humans and getting away from what their original mission was of protecting humans from aliens. And they say it, you know, not a little bit more crafty than the way I did, but that's basically what Haley says to Alex, and it's a turning point.
Yeah. I think that was in the episode when she was talking about Jean. What I liked their interaction at the end of this episode, when Haley told her that she knew all about her and Brainy's investigation, and she could have shut it down at any point, and that
Bless you.
She gave her enough rope to hang herself, and then Alex said, "I'm a good agent because I follow my instincts, and I will continue to follow my instincts." So basically, she's like, if it's gonna, if this is gonna save people, I'm gonna do it whether you order me to or not, or even if you order me to stop.
That's why we like Alex.
Yes. So I was glad that she stood up to her because, Haley's been a pain the last couple of episodes. And especially here at the beginning of this episode where you ordered to patrol the park. Like, that's so annoying.
That's
like Supergirl has a patrol pattern.
That's what, I don't have disrespect for military people and organizations, but I have a problem with taking orders.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because I have to think for myself and believe in what I'm doing, and I can't do something if I feel it's wrong, or I should be doing something else.
Right.
So I can't just be someone, I'm just following orders. No. That's why I could never do military service, because I think for myself. And just because somebody has a higher rank doesn't mean they automatically have my complete trust. They'll have respect, but they don't have my complete trust. I'm going to respect them the same way I respect anybody else, but,
Right.
That's not what we're talking about here.
So, they're, well, in this episode, real quick, we go to the, they discover what's happening. They find the markers. They go out. Supergirl's flying around, and she's zapping them from the sky. Brainy's on the street looking for markers. He has a nice interaction with some children of Liberty when he's wiping them away, and he beats them up with physics. That was pretty funny. He hardly lays a hand on them, and they end up beating themselves up.
How do you feel about Brainy just being there constantly now, like without Win?
I miss Win. Win was a fan favorite. He was enjoyable. He was really good. I mean, sadly, it took him a while to give him some extra character development. He went from puppy dog eyes at Kara to being the computer guy at the DEO, and then just bro buddies with James, and then that was about it for a while. Then he started having some character development, and then he went to the future.
I mean, it's like they knew what to do with him, then they didn't know what to do with him, and then they're like, "Oh, I was right, man." I mean, he was funny,
right?
But he was also had heart. And Brainy, to me, is funny at times.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the same kind of heart.
Yeah, like in this episode, he was funny when he was trying to be sly. When it came to Alex, and she's basically just like, "Shh, stop!" Like, I will. I can't even remember the line. But he always says that he's loud about it. He was really boisterous, trying to hide what he was doing. So that was kind of funny. His lack of understanding subtlety and body language, like him taking everything for face value, them telling him to not do it but winking at him. He's funny. He has some good moments. The fighting him on the street, that was a good moment. I enjoy him. He's definitely especially with such a heavy season, a heavy themed season. He definitely brings a lot of jovial content when he comes on screen, kind of lighten the mood, because everything is so heavy right now.
I know.
With the political themes and
can't
and
just
plot
punch somebody in the
lines.
face anymore. Like, it's just so heavy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was good. I liked him in this episode. I'm trying to think about what he was involved in the next episode. I do like when we get there.
Anything else from a call to action before? Like, I want to.
Well, there was Manchester killing a bunch of Children of Liberty.
Yep.
But
That's
we kind of, that's his. Yeah, that's every episode. He's killing people. He's definitely trying to get cold-blooded revenge. And then they had a couple of Harry Potter references in this episode, and we got a dragon.
We did get a dragon. That was, they went to a house to kill an alien, and he thought it was the kid, but it was the kid's pet. That was like a lizard that turned into a full-blown dragon.
Yeah. Like full-blown dragon. Wings flying, breathing fire.
Did not see that coming.
No. I think they did a pretty good job of Kara, fighting a dragon.
I mean, I was cool with it. Worked for me.
Yeah. But that's pretty much the episode there.
All right, so moving on to Rather the Fallen Angel. This one I think is interesting because this is where we see the biggest turn in Manchester. Because we have John trying to reach out and connect with Manchester. And we'll just say it. Manchester sets Kara up so he can get in with the Sons of Liberty to get to Agent Liberty. And,
right. Well, in the last episode, John was the one who invited him to Thanksgiving. So at Kara's apartment.
And they're just naive to trust him, and he'll turn against everybody. And I think it's weird. Just there's a lot of technology that people seem to be able to get a hold of that can fight Supergirl. Like the weighted stuff to try to keep her from flying. But
yeah, the gravity cuffs that they had.
We find out that
in this episode, the island, which they've never brought up the island before, but apparently this island is there and has been like
Liberty.
It was
Island
like the Ellis Island. Yeah, it was like Liberty Island, like Ellis Island for alien immigrants.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the whole alien movement. They just kind of cut out. Like
it happened before the season came up.
Like was it during this season? Was it, what I'm saying? Was it last season?
Like, was it between season? Yeah, was it like end of season 3 between? Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
we know that the president had been pushing for it. President Wonder Woman, she had been pushing for that. So it very well could have happened off screen, and there's a precedent for it. But it seems like a lot did happen off screen,
and that kind of just bothers me because I'm like, I don't know, just like in the sense of like the episode we talked about, Man of Steel. We go back and we see all the events from the other seasons of Supergirl and how they affected Ben Lockwood and his family. That's great continuity. So because of that, you built a really strong character for this season. But we don't get that with, like you said, this whole huge alien thing. It's all in the background. Like, oh yeah, alien this. And then all of a sudden now it's in the foreground. And
right. And this island, it's got all these pylons around that nullify alien powers.
I hate that. Okay, I'm a big yes, suspension of disbelief. Okay, well, that'd be like saying that if I walk through these pylons, my hair color changes, like it alters my DNA. All of a sudden, I'm now like not white, or I'm taller, I'm shorter, I'm Asian, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like her body makeup is different. It's not like she has a mutant power. But this isn't X-Men, okay? her
well, I mean,
genetic
some of the
makeup.
aliens that they've read.
That's what I'm
Sorry,
saying.
go ahead.
Some of them are different, you know, but it's like if it was like a specific, like they had red solar lamps, they put her in a red solar room that drained her power. Okay, that makes sense. But having this, it nullifies all alien power. That's just like generalizing everybody's DNA and makeup as if they're all, you know, like I said, it's not X-Men where you like, it suppresses the mutant gene. One thing that causes everybody's ability.
Yeah, it makes sense.
There's my little.
Yeah, to have one thing. Because, like, I mean, like, when they arrest people and they, you know, put whatever dampening devices or nullifiers on them, I'm sure they're geared to the specific genotype of the alien or the powers that they they possess.
We just talk DC universe, okay? You know, we have metahumans on the Flash. They're all built from the dark matter. The metahumans on Black Lightning all come from green light experimentation. And then we jump over to Young Justice Outsiders, which everyone should be watching. And it's all about them releasing the meta gene. You know? That's still, like I said, back to like the X gene. It all stems from one source that you can kind of pinpoint and kind of control. So, but that's my rant.
Right.
So basically,
okay.
Manchester betrays her. Her powers get dampened. She gets the cuffs. They throw her in the basement. They're going to blow up the building.
With a small tactical nuke.
Which is going to be
designed from alien fission rods.
Which is going to be detonated by James Olsen. Because he's become like the poster boy of the Children of Liberty as Guardian.
Yeah. So basically they are blackmailing him with the life of the guy Tom, the child of Liberty that he met up with in the last episode, but kind of got through to that, you know, just because you're scared doesn't mean you should go to this level that you are taking it, that Agent of Liberty has taken this. They are threatening his life if James Olsen doesn't do this. So James is, you know, doing what he believes to be right in, you know, sacrificing his image and his reputation to save this man's life.
Which is good. I mean, it's honorable. At the same time, it's playing into their hand, you know, which stinks for our heroes. But James eventually sees that Kara is trapped, and, you know, he saves her, and Manchester gets away because that's what Manchester does. He has some sort of armor. And
yeah, that was kind of cool. He just kind of hit his chest in like body armor. It's like Guardian's shield, how it just like comes out of nowhere, but it's the body armor.
And Lena, on the other hand, is working her trials where she has the hair now she's been experimenting with. She's going to try to give, you know, abilities or whatever to people. And it's really interesting, her whole perception of who to try. And I like that she's working with Eve Tessmacher. But
okay, so yeah, it is she does discover that the Harrenel in the last episode is making the hearts invulnerable, and they do have that discussion of superpowers at Thanksgiving dinner, and then the experiments, the trials commence in this episode.
Yep. And crap, I just totally forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I'm a little bummed that we're already like done with Mercy and Otis. Like, you know, there was a little bit of disbelief I had for a moment because I thought maybe they just were injured, but no, they did.
Yeah.
And it kind of like sucks because I was like really pumped like for those characters, but they did.
Yeah. Right. So I still think there's somebody that there's somebody kind of pulling the strings.
It's Lex. I'm telling you.
Lex.
I'm telling you right now. Let's wait until the next episode when we got into it, because I think that's the one where Ben makes a comment, and I'll tell you why. One, because it started with Mercy and Otis. Two, because they referenced that somebody else is in charge, and they had someone they were reporting to. And three, because we know Lex is coming. So what better way you bring him in that he's been behind it the whole time?
Right, than to try and discredit aliens as a whole.
You know, like it just makes more sense that Lex would be the one behind this whole thing.
Yeah. Well, so after the talk show, the debate show in the last episode, Ben Lockwood was given his own television show where he can now spout his rhetoric freely to the public.
It's the Ben Lockwood Show, starring Ben.
Right. They call it Lockdown with Ben Lockwood.
I mean, come on, seriously, like his last name just like allows you to do that. Like,
right.
Now for the
like it was put in their laps. It was put in their laps. So Lena, she starts her experiments and she starts human trials. Do you think that the trial designate was a callback to Smallville?
Makes me think.
Subject 0331.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. Why else would you make some sort of numerical reference to 33.1?
Right. I was like, oh, I see what you did.
I'm surprised they just don't be like, oh, and the person's name who wants to try, his name is Michael Rosenbaum. Okay. Come on in, Mr. Rosenbaum.
Yeah, right. That's funny. And this is still leading up to Elseworlds, where we got the whole Smallville Kent farm and Save Me and everything else.
Solomon likes to sing that song.
Does he? Yeah. Sweet. Jimmy and Bella know that song.
It's pretty sweet.
So yeah, this episode, you know, Manchester betrayed Supergirl, turned her over to them so he could get an audience with Agent Liberty. And then they know who he is. They know who Manchester Black is, who Fee is. So he deduces that, you know, this guy wouldn't be putting himself in a place to be killed with the way that they know who and what he's been up to.
Exactly.
So he knows that guy's not Manchester, or he knows that guy's not Agent Liberty.
Yep.
But by the end of the episode, we discover that he found out. He found out who Agent Liberty is.
Yes, he did. So we're going to jump now to Bunker Hill, which was the mid-season finale. Which I didn't realize it was, because usually it's like the crossover then the mid-season. So I didn't realize that this was basically the mid-season finale, and then we had the crossover episode. And so now we're going to jump into Bunker Hill, and we'll probably be out of order. But I just want to point out that this episode was directed by Kevin Smith. Which is...
Oh, was this the Kevin Smith episode?
Yeah, which is cool. Like, I really like Kevin Smith, but at the same time, I think he has become overrated. If anybody wants to argue with me, it's not worth time, but I still do enjoy the man. I just think he gets a lot more praise anymore. Part of it's because, you know, I used to listen to all of his podcasts, and he never watched The Flash or any of the CW stuff. then all of a sudden he like watches a Flash, and then he like just becomes like the biggest advocate for all of it as a. And I'm just like, man, you weren't even into any of it. But whatever. Everybody's got their own life to lead. There's other stuff, but I won't go on my tangents. I just feel like he's got this like cred that's just kind of like no longer is deserving because I don't know. I could go on a whole.
I mean, he's been there. I mean, he's been there. What are you going to do? I mean, and he's just like anybody else. I mean, there's so much content out there nowadays. Either you watch it or you don't.
But what kills me is like he'll have an opinion on something, and then when like if everyone's against it, he'll come back and like recalibrate his whole opinion and thoughts about it. Like he can't have his own original thought. But whatever. I'm done.
He's not the first one.
I know. But in this episode, Manchester shows up at the Lockwood house. Definitely put some tension there with, Ben's family. Manchester's there, claiming to be an old friend of Ben's. And we have
which certainly takes Ben off guard, not knowing who this person is in his house. So I'm thinking that he knows who he is, but, obviously he's got to play that he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, why would they have made the deal? Like he would have been the deciding factor on making that deal because Supergirl was coming in. Yeah, he'd have been. He knows who he is, and he's got to play he doesn't in front of his wife.
I always feel bad for like the wife character who doesn't know. I would have preferred a twist that she knew all along was on his side, and then like Manchester and the authorities and everybody didn't know, but then it's twisted, and like even his son has already been like swayed, almost like just to see like that character side of a united front of the family, even though they're wrong, they stand together,
right?
Because it makes it so much more powerful and creepy.
Yeah, it certainly would.
Because you're like, oh no, now the wife knows what her husband's really been up to, but then like she's completely okay and on board with it, and she's known the whole time. You're just like, dang.
Yeah.
But this is the episode where Supergirl gets fired from the DEO. And I'm okay with that. I almost feel like I would rather there not be a DEO. Let's change up the mold. Like, let Supergirl be Supergirl.
Absolutely. Superman never worked for an agency, and they weren't clamoring, knocking down his door to find out who he was.
So like we were saying earlier, like she's supposed to just be like helping the DEO, not a DEO agent. She's not investigating. It's not her job. She has another job. But I think going back to what the new head of the DEO.
Yeah, since we skipped all the way to the very end.
I think it's all part of their plan. Because like we had Agent Jensen, who was in the previous Parasite Lost, a DEO agent who basically turned against the DEO. And I think that's what we're going to see more of. We're going to see now more of the DEO is you're going to have people who are back to that initial idea where they're there to stop aliens from hurting humans. And they don't really care about the aliens. And I think that's
right.
What the new boss is doing, and she's already weeded out. John's not there now. Supergirl's not there, so it's becoming back to humans. And I don't think they know Brainy is an alien. I think just Alex knows.
Yeah. That's actually kind of interesting because I've I've thought about it, and I know that, there's Director Bones from the comics is a director of the DEO when the DEO is much more of a shady organization.
I almost kind of want to go back.
It'd be interesting if it would be turning that way.
Just if we're gonna mix some things up, let's mix some things up.
What if the president turns out to be Bones?
Or like the president's just like, we have
that's out there. That's reaching, but
we haven't got a lot with the president. Be like what, 1 or 2 scenes, of him, and we know where he stands. Like he's more anti-alien, and I think it'd be an interesting shift all of a sudden that we have a president that's anti-alien, and how that's going to change what's been building for the past couple of years. We also this episode's heavy on Nia because we find out that she's an alien, and that's where she gets her dream powers. So I thought that was interesting that she was an alien and not a meta. And I think it's...
Yeah, I actually didn't catch that first. I just caught that on my rewatch that she was an alien.
But then it's a little interesting too that she previously stated she's a transgender woman. So she's a transgender woman who's an alien. Like some species, we don't know exactly how all aliens work. And I'm just gonna leave that there. So.
Yeah. So, yeah, Brainy obviously knows about her in the future, and he's not saying too much, but he does help her to kind of work with her powers to see what's going on in her dream, to kind of find out what's going to happen in the future and to be able to change what's going to happen in the future.
And so the end of the episode, Ben gets arrested for his Agent Liberty activities.
Yeah, Manchester forces him to wear his Agent Liberty costume, chases him to the Nth Metal factory, where there's a big showdown between Manchester, Supergirl, Ben Lockwood, and Manchester, which is an
amazing scene.
Pretty cool scene. Yeah, pretty cool scene. Bella was like, "Whoa!"
This is where
she watched that episode with me.
Liquid metal poured on her, and everyone thinks she's trying to break free.
Liquid nth metal.
Yeah, we gotta highlight the nth metal part.
Nth metal, the strongest metal in the DC universe.
But remember, it's not nth; it's actually 9th metal. If you read Dark Knight metal, because the 10th metal is what's the bad stuff. But basically, she's, for lack of a better term, melted to the floor, and she starts flying, lifting up the entire building because she is one with the building, and it's BA.
Yeah,
I mean it was.
There's no use struggling. I'm not struggling. I'm flying. And the whole building comes up with her, and she drops the whole building to the floor, crashing back down to the ground.
Which is the ultimate mic drop.
Right. And the nth metal around her shatters too, which allows her to save Ben's wife as she falls, as pipes fall and knock him out until the police arrive.
And which is great because now the person he hates saved his wife. And like I said, I like Ben Lockwood, and I think from here, like, we're going to see more dramatic acting from Sam, with him being, I think, torn as both Agent Liberty, but as Ben. Because I like I said, I believe that we're going to get the reveal that Lex has been behind everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be the huge, big reveal that we're going to get.
Right. Well, what's messed up is Supergirl saves her, and then when Ben's being walked into the prison, she's the one who starts the chant for liberty.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Like
having that united,
it's cool to back up your husband, but like he's a murderer. And
having that united front of the family just makes it, I think, a stronger story. Because then you have the clichéness. So.
Well, she's lost as much as he has. I mean, they're family, you know?
Exactly. But that wraps up this episode. I really liked Bunker Hill. We got to wrap up before I get my coughing fit because I'm starting to...
Yeah, strong season finale. Or mid-season finale.
The last thing I want to add real quick, and it's kind of like a side note, is if you're not watching the TV show The Rookie on ABC with Nathan Fillion, you should, because just watching that show, just make him Hal Jordan. Do an older Hal Jordan. You know, we got an older Batman. Nathan's still in great shape. Do an older Hal Jordan who's looking at, training a new Green Lantern to replace him if needed, so that we can do a strong Green Lantern Corps movie. We don't need a young Hal Jordan. Let's do an older Hal Jordan training a young Kyle with Jon Stewart already there too. I mean, just throwing that out there because we know Nathan is always a favorite for the character and he's done the voice multiple times.
Absolutely.
But I just want to throw that out there. Any last thoughts, James?
No. I enjoyed the way the mid-season ended. You know, they referenced what was going on in the crossover, which is the next episode, next 3 episodes. They reference her not being an agent, her having to quit the DEO or be fired from the DEO, and getting a pep talk from Superman that he knows that she will be able to handle what's coming her way, and I'm looking forward to when Supergirl returns on January 20th. Supergirl returns. Yes.
Is that her movie? Like, Supergirl returns. Picks up after the first.
Well, let's hope they distance themselves from the Supergirl movie and not try to make the same mistakes of trying to connect it to a 30-plus-year-old movie.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It'll be here in a couple weeks, and then we'll be back on schedule, and we'll get everything squared up.
Yes, sir.
Look up in the sky.
Look up in the sky.
Look up in the sky. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at Krypton Report. You can also email us at kryptonreportpod@gmail.com. If you get a chance to go over to iTunes, please leave us a review to help us get better. If you're an Amazon shopper, just remember you can go to southgatemediagroup.com. There's a portal log into Amazon, and you'll shop into your account just regular, but it also helps keep all the podcasts on and helps keep Southgate running. Remember, look up in the sky.